Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Spirit Lounge podcast with me, David.
And me, Glenda.
And we are psychic mediums from both sides of the pond.
I'm in Australia.
And I'm in the UK.
And we're joining forces to discuss and talk about the world of psychics, mediumship, and all things spiritual. We might even throw some random life topics in there too.
So come with us now on our podcast journey. Let's see what's happening in the Spirit Lounge for today's episode. Well, hello listeners, and thank you very much for joining us again in the Spirit Lounge for today's episode. As usual, I'm here with my co-pilot, Glenda. How are you, Glenda?
Good. Hello, David. Hello, listeners, and thank you for joining us on Spirit Lounge.
Yes, and today we have another special episode because we have another special guest with us in the Spirit Lounge today. We have Reverend Dawn, who is an ordained spiritualist minister and working medium based in London, known for her heartfelt connection to spirit and dedication to serving others through the philosophy and practice of spiritualism. With over 2 decades of experience, she brings depth, compassion, and integrity to her work as a demonstrator, speaker, and mediumship coordinator. Her journey with spirit began at the age of 19 and has evolved into a lifelong vocation of delivering evidence of life after death and the enduring nature of love. Reverend Dawn is deeply committed to healing and upliftment, both in one-to-one readings and in her public platform work. Through her services, she holds space for comfort, continuity, and sacred connection between this world and the next. Whether conducting funeral services or guiding others through their spiritual developments, Reverend Dawn carries a deep sense of purpose to remind us that there is no death, that love transcends the veil, and that we are all part of something greater. Well, welcome to the Spirit Lounge today, Reverend Dawn. It's so lovely to have you here with us. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And please just call me Dawn.
We'll call you Dawn. Marvellous.
It's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you, both of you.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure because we know you've got lots. I have watched you in the background. I have watched some of your services for Wimbledon as well online. So I have been familiar with you. But maybe our viewers, maybe not so much. So let's start with a question of how did it start? What was your starting point, Dawn? How did you start your mediumship journey? If we start with that first.
Yes, of course. As with quite a lot of people, it starts from quite young, very young experiences, of being a child and having experiences. Although I didn't know that they were anything unusual at all. They were just playmates and things, and it was all very real to me. And then you go through puberty, and it kind of changes. It peaks and troughs, and as you go through, and then it wasn't till I was about 19 years old that I went to my first spiritualist church, and I think that was mostly after experiencing a lot of death of close people to me. At the age of 13, I lost my dad. And I'd also lost my nan as well, and they were both people that were my universe. My nan was my playmate, my best friend, my confidant, and my dad was my hero. So losing those people had a profound effect on me, and it seemed to unlock something in me. And then I'd have more experiences, and I wanted to know. That I was like, there must be more. There has to be more. It's not in my head. These people and experiences are real. And I would explain things to my mum, and she would say, actually, yeah, I get it. This is, I understand you. And she was wonderful, as was my nan when she was alive, and I would tell her things. And then I went to my very first spiritualist church when I was 19, and I was welcomed with open arms, and it literally felt like I had opened the doors into sunshine. It felt like it was this is what it's supposed to be. This is how I belong. This is where I belong. It just felt right straight away. I didn't need to be anywhere else. From the pictures on the wall, to the readings, everything was just, oh yes, this is right. And from there, I sat in circle in a Battersea Spiritualist Church, which is no longer there, sadly. um, which is heartbreaking, but there we go. And I sat in circle, and I sort of went on from there, and I become so enthralled, so dedicated that I was like, this is it, this is everything. And then I moved to Dorset, um, and I'm now back in London though. Hurrah! um, and when I moved to Dorset, that was like one of my very first services out there, um, which happened by accident. I was sat in circle, and the tutor I had said, "Oh, come up on platform with me," and she didn't turn up. So
Oops.
Throw you in the deep
yeah,
end.
I know.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing the service on my own, um, and it it wasn't the best thing I've ever done in my life. I'll admit to that, but I got through it, and ever since then I've been totally. I was like, well, if I've done it this one time, I can do it, and that was it. And then through lockdown, I kind of decided I need to do more. I need to serve. I have to be able to serve. And I prayed so hard at how can I do more? What can I do? And it was in me. It was just in me to want to be a minister, to be a reverend. And then I kind of lockdown brought me into training, and yeah, and that was how I became a reverend and went on from there.
Uh,
Wow.
what a journey, hey.
Mm.
So, Dawn, if we rewind a little bit, did you do all of your training in a spiritual church or your development, or was there some that you did outside of the spiritual church?
I started off in the spiritualist church because that was kind of all you knew. And then I found a pamphlet at the back of the church advertising the Arthur Finlay College. Yay! And that was just the most incredible. I was like, this is the place I have to go. I have to go there. Went there for the very first time, was absolutely hooked. As soon as I walked in the doors, I was like, yes. The whole place just feels like, you know, there is this spirit around you constantly. You're around like-minded people. So I went there like every year I would go back. And then also the College of Psychic Studies as well. And I learned a lot of meditation online, but just constant and reading and just, you pick up stuff all the time from different people, and of course your guides and helpers are always there to educate you, to guide you.
Yeah. I mean, we met in Arthur Finlay College lining up in the
Yes, we
doorway.
did. Yes, we did. That was just such a magical moment. That was awesome.
I swear that was spirit led, how it
Yes.
happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you come from the other side of the world, right?
Yeah.
To
And
England to go to Arthur Finlay College, and I didn't know you were going to be there.
I know, and here you were on SPTV, a presenter. You left SPTV. I
Mhm.
took your spot.
I know.
And here we are meeting at Arthur Finlay College going, hey, Dawn, it's Glenda.
We
And then
just
we're in the
left each
same
other's side.
class. I know. And then we're in the same class. We hung out with each other 24/7.
Yeah.
We were just like besties. So
Yeah. It was an instant click. It was magic.
it was. It was. And if we it does now help me understand because I'm here in Australia. Is a lot of your training like SNU or CNU based, or how does it work there?
No, not for me personally, because I always found it so rigid. SNU, no shade to anybody who is SNU, fully SNU, CSNU trained completely, qualifications there. Absolutely fantastic if that is your road. But for me, I found it way too rigid. I couldn't, um, there's too many rules and regulations, too much structure about. It's fine to have that's the mechanics. You absolutely need to have the mechanics of mediumship. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have that foundation, and that's brilliant. But to have so much structure where it gets to almost to the point where my personal experience was that I couldn't let a message flow. I had to remember, oh, I remember I have to do this bit. Oh, and this bit has to come next. Oh no, shush, spirit, because this is not SN. You want me to do it this way, you know? And
Yeah.
I felt that really limited the message.
Yeah, I agree.
But that is
Okay.
just my experience.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, the more people we interview, the more people say the same thing,
Okay.
I find. What about
Yeah.
you, David? You finding the same sort of answers?
Yeah, I mean, when I trained look, I talk in an independent spiritualist church. I'm not SNU trained. I think people have said the same thing, but I think it's important to talk about, only from the sense of, I think when people come to start their development, um, it's letting them know that there is more than one way to do it.
Absolutely.
There's not just one organization which takes hold of that. If you don't feel comfortable in that space, go to that space.
Mm.
Because we always say as well, Dawn, is that when you're learning, you need to be comfortable in the environment that you're learning in,
Mhm.
and that where you feel your soul resonates with that type of learning, rather than going to an organization just because they've got a name doesn't
Exactly.
necessarily mean that they are the greatest, because I've seen some great mediums have come out of lots of independent organizations and churches just as good or not better
Yeah.
than the other. So I think it's important there to talk about. So was your training then, Dawn, was that in an independent setting, if I put it that way?
Well, I've had both. I've had the SNU training. I didn't pass qualifications with the SNU, but I went through a lot of SNU training, obviously through the Arthur Finlay College,
Yeah.
and then I had the independent as well. Obviously, the Battersea Spiritualist Church was my very very beginning, and that was an SNU church. That was SNU. So that was quite rigid, but then that's like I said, you have to have that foundation. I think you need to have that
Mm,
foundation. You need to know the mechanics of mediumship,
absolutely, yeah.
you know, and that is vital. I felt that was vital. Um, but once you have that down, once you have the mechanics, then it's you as your own individual mediumship.
Mm,
Every single person's mediumship is like a fingerprint, you know.
yeah,
You can't say, like you said, David, there's not just one way of being trained. You take a little bit of information from that person, a little bit of training from that person, you know, all these different things, and you form your own personal brand of mediumship. And spirit know how you work.
absolutely.
Yeah. I find it has to be organic
Yeah.
for for me, for it to work properly. I have to do it my way.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
So,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dawn, the way the world is now, a lot of stuff is, a lot of stuff is really great English. A lot of stuff, a lot of a lot of development is now online, with the rise of, social media and Zoom and all that kind of thing. So, based on your own experiences with in church training, how do you feel that church-based development compares to the more independent or online pathways that many students explore today? Do you think it's better to do it one way rather than the other?
Um, I would say obviously doing it in person, doing anything in person is always going to give you a proper hands-on experience because you're face to face,
Yeah.
you know?
mm,
There's because online there's always going to be that barrier, you know?
Mm,
yeah.
Obviously it's not a spiritual barrier, but it is a barrier to how much you can feel you're in that environment.
yeah.
If I've got a better way of explaining that
Yeah.
to
No,
you.
I get it. Yeah.
Um, and there's only so much you can do online,
Mhm.
you know. But if it's accessible, that's how it's what's accessible to you, then online is going to work as well. You don't have to go to the vicinity to that place. online, they both have their positives and their negatives. You know, if you can't make it to us to the particular place, does that mean then you can't be trained? You
Mm.
can't have access? That's not fair. You know, and Spirit aren't going to say to you, "Oh, you can't go there. I'm not going to help you."
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
however
Mhm.
you can get your training, there are good points about it. All training, whatever you're going to get, you're going to gain some positives, some knowledge, and all knowledge is good knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dawn, like, we've worked together online as well, and I
We
think that's
have.
great. And a lot of my viewers have met you, and it's fantastic. And we're going to do more of that. So, going back to, you said through COVID, you thought about, becoming a reverend or minister.
Yeah,
Um, is it something that you chose, or is it part of your the spiritualist church that you're part of? Is it something that everyone aspires to be, or the church would like you to be, or is it just on the person to choose that path?
it has to be. Well, for me, can't say it has to be because this is just my personal experience.
Yeah,
It was in me. It was
yeah,
just in me. It's never something that the church says, "Oh, we would encourage you to do." No, that never happened at all. It doesn't happen. It was purely in me that I wanted. I literally sat down, for better of a word, sat down with God and my
yeah,
guides, and I said, "What? What's in me? Put something on my heart to say to me, this is what's going to feel right for me." And I knew that I wanted to help people and to be
yeah,
able to. I knew that when people are in their time of grief, and I know what it is to grieve. We all know what it is to grieve. It's that one unifying factor. Doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter what part of the world you come from, who you are, what you have, grief is unifying.
yeah.
So to be able to help somebody in their time of grief, that's what I want to do with my life. So, and I knew that being a minister or reverend, however you want to call it, I would be able to help people, at the very end of their life, sit with them. I've sat with people while they've taken their last breaths,
Mm.
um, while they've had, decided to turn off the machine. I've sat with people while that's happened. And it's been oh, the most incredible, fulfilling experiences of my life. And to be able to share that moment with somebody. The very first breath you take is the breath of birth, and the very last breath you take is your breath from your passing. To be able to experience that is incredible. And to be able to help the people left behind who are grieving, to help them to be able to, create the kind of send off that is best for them, that is really best for them. Um, and also, it's just a way that I can really help people. And it felt right to me. It's not right for everybody, but it felt right for me.
Oh, you're the perfect person for it.
Oh,
I
bless
just
you.
think you're wonderful. You're like an earth angel. I've always thought that. You're
Bless you.
amazing, and we're very lucky to have you walking this earth and you being there for people and me, in my life as well. I'm so grateful to have met you. So thank you.
The same. I feel the same way about you, my love.
Oh, oh, and you too, David. We love you too, David.
Thanks.
I haven't done any weddings or naming ceremonies. We call them naming ceremonies. But and the people that were ordained with me at the same time have done weddings or naming ceremonies. But my I seem to always gravitate towards funeral services or the end of life for people, and that tends to be where spirit want me to be. And it's where I can do the most work. Because when you're getting married, you're already happy. You don't need help. When you're bringing a new baby into the world and you want to say you're already happy, you don't need help. When you're in your moment of grief and you're preparing a funeral or something, that's when I can really be of service.
Now, for those here in Australia that don't know about that or don't understand that, what other responsibilities do you uphold being a Reverend or Minister?
Yeah. Um, it's not just about people who are grieving or people who are end of life. It's also people who are going through times of struggle um, emotionally, not just through grief, but also through um, it's a counselling that I offer as well, a spiritual counselling. Because it's hard being a human being. It's
Mhm.
tough. It's not easy getting up out of bed each day. And that's part of the work that I do. I'm here on the end of the phone if someone needs to talk. And we have people who will phone up the church, for instance, and say, um, I have an entity in my home. Um, and that will be then my job to contact the person and talk them through. I have my own set of questions for them to begin with, because I'm not a doctor. None of us are, and we can't profess to be. We can only give advice. So the first thing I will want to know is any medication you might be on. You know, um, is there anybody in the home? Like, have you got animals in the home? Have you got little kids in the home? Things like that that might be causing something. Always look for the most logical things first. And then sometimes people just need prayers. Sometimes that is really all you need to hear is some prayers, and that will dissipate, because sometimes it's not always, if you have got a haunting, I say in calling,
Yeah.
um, then it can be that you just need healing prayers, or you just need confidence in yourself, in your own power. Because most of the time you don't need a medium. Quite often you don't need that. We're just the starting block, you know? But it's up to you to have that own confidence in yourself. And I hope I'm able to give that to somebody, nurture that in somebody, that then helps them to be able to say, I can handle this. I can pray this away. I can talk to spirit. I can get this done. And we'll pray together. We'll send uplifting thoughts to this entity, to pass on into the light. Um, and that's another part of what I do.
So if I can go and like pick on that a little bit, do
Yes.
you have you had any woo-woo stories you can share
We
with us?
I have had one experience where I went to a lady's house to visit her, as she'd had some experiences in her home. And I kind of went there sort of like, yeah, so is there any alcohol in the house? Are we on our drugs? All that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I sort of went there, "Ugh." And then I got there, started talking, and there was this feeling that I was not on my own in the house. And this little girl ran past the open lounge door, and then a dog jumped through the brick wall at me. And that was their old dog that had passed. It just jumped through the wall at me. This little girl ran past, but they didn't know who the little girl was. But as I was sat there talking more to them, someone pulled my skirt. It was the little girl who pulled my skirt. And I went, oh, and she said, "Oh, you felt it. See, I told you." And it was, it made the lady feel so
Yeah.
much better. She was like, "I told you it was right. I told you." So, and even just having that vindication that someone's believed me,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and they had CCTV as well. And you could see on the CCTV, you could see a figure of an old man walking down the stairs. And it was just beautiful, to see
Yeah.
this in action. It was awesome. But that's the 9 times out of 10, my experiences have been that they're not really, they might be genuine to the person, they might be the emotions that are being created around the person, but they're
Yeah.
not actual physical entities. They're not spiritual, they're not actual
Mm.
entities.
They're not there doing harm. They just want to be noticed, like I always say.
Absolutely, absolutely. The little girl didn't punch me. She just wanted to pull my skirt and be like, "Hi, can we play?" You know? I'm here, and and it was lovely. And I think often once you acknowledge the spirit, once you give
Mm.
them your hello and everything's fine, then a lot of the time, disturbances, if you will, calm
Yeah,
down and stop
yeah,
because they got what they wanted.
Yeah.
exactly.
And so
Exactly.
Dawn, from what I'm kind of taking from what your work as a reference, that you're dealing with a lot of emotions and a lot of, people's emotions and people's energy. So how do you keep yourself grounded and together doing that role, if you like?
Yeah. Um, you have to kind of keep an an eye on yourself. Keep an
Mm,
eye on your own heart. And know that you're giving all this attention to these emotions and everything, but they're not your emotions. If you're doing something active by trying your best to help this person, and you're using the power of spirit, it's not really, so you're being replenished, if you will.
yeah.
It's not you that's doing everything. Anything I do is I'm never alone. None of us are ever alone.
Mm,
So that helps to fill up my banks again.
Yeah.
Um, so otherwise I mean, yourself, Glenda and David, if you're doing a reading for somebody and it's very emotive, you need to kind of put that aside.
yeah.
And quite often I don't remember
Mm,
half of what I've
Mm.
said to a person. They'll go,
absolutely. Yeah.
how did it go? And I'll be like, I've got to be honest, I don't actually remember.
Remember. Yeah.
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 And I think that is the brain and also spirit's way of saying you won't be able to go on
Mm,
if you don't have this kind of protection. You know, you can't go through life, and they want you to continue doing this good work. So they are there constantly trying to fill up your heart again.
mm,
They're there trying to do that all the time and doing normal things. Picking up the kids from school, making their
Yeah.
dinner. Going for a walk or whatever it is you need to do. It kind of all brings it down, brings you back down, and
yeah.
keeps you stable. And having good friends.
Amen to that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amen.
And speaking about friends, have you noticed, um, as you've stepped into this role, not just being a medium, but being a reverend and taking on those extra duties, because I know that you also work full time and you're a mama of beautiful boys. Um, have you noticed the dynamics with your friendships change, or there's certain things that you can't have in your life anymore?
It's a natural progression of people start to part the ways.
Yeah.
um, which allows you can't beg people to be in your life that don't want to. You should never beg anybody to be in your life. If they don't want to be there, then they're not supposed to be there. I'm a firm believer that people come in your life and you come into people's life for that time that they're supposed to be there. And if they're not meant to stay, they won't. That means that someone else will come into your life that is more in alignment with you. The same as our guides and helpers, they will come in when the time is right, and somebody else will come in when another part of you is needed. You're needed in that person's life at that time. They're needed in your life at that time. So whatever's right, people will just come and go. And it's the quality of a person, of that relationship with you. Those are the people that stay. And the other people kind of start to drop off. And the people that really, really stay with you I've found, are the people that have known me since I was at secondary school, and they've continued to be my friend through life. And then they've they came to my ordination ceremony, and
Yeah.
and they've changed. I've changed, they've changed, but we've always been together because it's not about what I do that's important to them. They love me for who I am,
Yeah.
regardless of
I
what I'm
get I get that
doing
so much.
by the wayside, and that's. That's fine.
Amazing. And I get that part, especially the ones that you say that, the ones that you start off with, they've always been in my life too, a constant, they've always
Regardless of
been
what
there
you
no matter
do.
what. You can pick up if it's been 3 months, a
Yeah.
year, 2 years, and it's just always the same.
Yeah.
I feel like they're the real people.
Yes, definitely. They're the people who have chosen, I'm going to be with Glenda. No, I don't know how it's going to happen in this incantation, but I'm going to be with her somehow and we're going to stay together. That's how it happens. I'm sure. I know that's how it happens.
And Dawn, I find this quite, I don't know how to put those words in. I find this quite fascinating that this podcast has landed at this time where I am away supporting
Mhm.
my loved one through their transition. And we
Yes.
have Reverend Dawn on this podcast that does this for a living. And you gave me a beautiful message before we started. But can you offer some advice on how we can better support someone who is losing or has lost someone?
Remember that those people that are passing or have passed, they're not grieving. They are not grieving. It's you that's grieving. They are going through time of peace. They are going through a time of awakening. You are the one that needs to live. You still need to live. And the best way that you can celebrate the life of the person that you've loved and still love and that they still exist, remember they still exist. They still exist. I want to shout that out to all of your listeners. The people you have loved and have but are now not with you physically, they still live, they still exist, and they still love you just as much, if not more. And the best way that you can celebrate their life, not mourn their death, but the best way you can celebrate their life is to live yours to the greatest you can. Celebrate their life by living yours. And open up to experiencing life. Get to know yourself better, because you will always be the person that is now no longer, say for instance, I don't know, say you've lost your nan, for instance. You will forever be the person who has lost their nan. You will forever be that person. You will ever forever be that person who has experienced grief. But it doesn't have to define you. It's don't feel guilty for one day waking up and laughing about something. Don't
Absolutely.
don't feel guilty about it. And don't think that life has to stop. Because every time you laugh, they hear you laugh and it makes them happy. Every time you cry because you miss them, all that is all the unspent love that you can't give that person right now. You feel you can't give them right now. Those tears are just the love. So they're really what they are. They're bitter, but they're tears of love. They're
Mm.
physical love that you're showing on the outside because of the depth of your love for that person. Just because they're physically not here doesn't mean they're not here. There's no separation between the two of you because there's no space or time. So there is no separation. You are just even more together than you ever were before. Concentrate on you.
Amazing. I just heard my mum
Amazing.
go, she's so beautiful. I love her.
Oh, bless
I'm
you.
sitting here in my mum's home, my home that I grew up in. I can hear my
Yeah.
mum here going, oh, I love her.
No. Bless your mum.
Now,
Oh,
with that said, Don, what's the most, if you can think of this, because as you said before, as mediums, we don't remember what we say to people. Well,
yeah.
I certainly don't. But are you able to remember one of the most comforting things that spirit has shown you about those who've crossed over?
Yes. Yes. Um, Trying to remember something very poignant. for me. Um, there was a time when I was doing a church service, and this gentleman, I didn't know who he was, just in the congregation, gentleman in the congregation, and his granddad came through, and he'd said to me, now I only remember this because the gentleman come up to me after. If he hadn't have done, it would have gone straight out of my head.
Yeah.
It always does.
Mm.
Um, and he gave me his bike. He gave me his name, and he gave me how he passed. He'd had a motorbike, and he'd had a brain injury. And I can't tell you his name because I can't remember it now, for obvious reasons. Let's just say his name was David. um, and But he didn't die from the brain injury. He had the brain injury sort of lifelong, really. He'd had it for most of his life. Um, and the gentleman in his grandson had asked him before he passed, please can you give me tell me three things. Tell me about your brain injury. He still got through life with this brain injury, but it was how his grandson knew him. Please bring me that information. Tell me about your bike and give me your name. If you can do all three of these things, that's all I need from your granddad. And I just came up with these three items. I didn't think it was that crazy. And then I moved on to the next person, and I remember, gosh, it's flooding back now. The next person in the congregation, I said to him, everything's going to be fine on Wednesday. Everything's going to be fine on Wednesday. And he just went like that. And it transpired at the end. And I was like, I don't have a hell of a lot more I want to say. I'm really sorry, but I just wanted to punch that in for you. If you've never had a reading before, I hope you've enjoyed the service, blah, blah. And he just sat there, and I said, everything's, and he said, I've been out of work for such a long time. I've just tried, I finally got this job interview on Tuesday that I've been really, really nervous about after going through so much emotional trauma, not knowing if I ever can go back to work or not. And everything was going to be fine for his job interview. And then this guy at the end, he came back to me and he said, all of that information, those were the three things I really, really needed to know. And it just kind of, because it's not for you.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's not for you. You're that glorified telephone, and you that Glenda, don't you know this the most, you having that pure connection, being that intermediary, that medium between those worlds, and just being able, not give me facts and figures and telephone numbers and all that stuff, which is great, but those individual things that help you to know without a shadow of a doubt, that was my granddad, and he still exists.
Yeah.
He still exists. That's what gives me the shivers just thinking about it, And I asked my
Sorry, Dawn, do you still get excited? Like,
I do. I still get excited. Of course I do. And I tell you what, I get nervous. Oh my gosh, I get painfully nervous.
What about questions? Yeah. Do you still get nervous?
So much. I'll be thinking about it. It could be a week before. If not, I'm going, spirit, I've got this, and I'll be starting to get myself nervous, and I'll start to sweat. And please make it okay. Please, all right. Because you care, you love, and you want it to. We're human. We don't want the no, do we? And we want to do the best because it's such an honor to be able to bring two people just for that moment back together again, although there always are together, but for them to have that confidence that we really are together just for that moment is everything. So yes, it's incredibly exciting when it goes where you're like, but the nerves about wanting to get it right is just terrifying.
It's
You know,
bad.
Yeah.
it's crippling.
Yeah.
And I don't
So,
think people appreciate that.
no. So would you say, Dawn, that because we were going to ask as well, what's the bravest thing you've done on your journey? And I mean, to us, like stepping out on platform is one
Yeah.
of my things anyway. Would you say that's one of the bravest things you've done on your journey? And it might seem mundane to people, but as you say, people don't understand, what goes on behind the scenes when it comes to preparing for a dem, let alone anything else. So, is that one of the bravest things you've done, or is there something else in your journey where you think, actually, I give myself a pat on the back for doing that?
The feeling of those wooden steps under your feet as you're walking up onto the platform is agony. Agony.
Look at David giggling.
So, no, it's true.
Hitting you, my legs shaking. You're sat there, everyone's got their eyes on you. And I remember one of the worst times, I had such bad anxiety. My legs had gone to jelly completely. My hands were trembling, and I thought, in a minute, they're going to ask me to stand up and do this. And I can't do this. And I'm saying, and there was a point in my world that said, you have no choice. People are sat here, they're waiting for you to do this. And the spirit worlds have come and they are waiting to talk to their loved ones. You owe them both something. And the pressure is huge. And I
Mm,
remember trying to stand up, and, oh, welcome Dawn to the platform. And I remember my legs just being like, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to stand. And it obviously didn't look that bad, but it felt horrendous. And my lips were shaking, the words coming out. But as soon as I pushed myself aside and said, this is not about my ego. My ego gets me
Mm.
up on there. My ego gets me up the stairs onto the platform. My ego stands me up. But after I've made the connection with the spirit world, it's not about me anymore. It's not about I've got my makeup on today. Did I do this? Do I look all right in this? It's not about me anymore. It's about the spirit and the message to the recipient. So the pressure's not on me then.
Yeah. But
Until
then you go
until
back
it's all over.
all over again. All over
Yeah,
again.
I know. Because they don't care, do they? If you've got, I'm not wearing any makeup today whatsoever. And I thought that's cool because spirit don't care if you've got your makeup on. They don't care if you don't. All they want to know is that you can bring through the message of spirit to their loved
No,
ones.
they're
Care
they're
about.
definitely not going to care if David's drawn his eyebrows on.
No,
Absolutely not.
David,
no,
although
I
David
care.
fine. But yes, absolutely. Getting up on every time, that is the most for anybody, for any medium, getting up. I think that getting up on the platform for that time, that's the most courageous thing you can do.
Mm, I
I
agree.
don't
Agree.
I don't think you ever lose that. Anybody that tells you they oh, I don't get nervous anymore. You I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I know. I know. So Dawn, what's something that you can share with our listeners that people don't know about you?
Oh my word. Um um oh gosh, I had my very first Ouija board when I was 12 years old. I know that's really bizarre. It's what I wanted for my birthday. I remember asking my nan and my mum. I saw it in the shop window. It was like they sold books and all sorts of things. And I was fascinated by this thing. I was only 12, but goodness knows why. It's not the sort of thing you want. You want a Barbie doll or something, don't you? An etch a sketch. I
Well,
wanted.
David, David probably wouldn't have asked Joel.
I did have one as well, actually.
And it was an amazing thing. I remember sat there one evening with my mom and my nan around the table with this Ouija board or spirit circle, whatever you like to call it. It doesn't make it a scary thing, just a label. And it was like, oh, did you move that? You moved that, didn't you? You know. Um, and that was kind of how that started. And it was a very regular thing. So from just being 12 years old, it was regular. We'd sit around the dinner table and have this Ouija board regularly in the evenings. And became a real sort of the three of us, the three ladies of the house would sit and do this. Um,
There's no monopoly. There's a Ouija board.
yeah, Ouija board. And it kind of transpired as well, that my I never met her, sadly, but she knows of me. My dad's mum, she would have people come to the house. She'd send my dad out into the garden to go play. Well, not into the garden, so out into the dirt to go play. And she would have people round, and giving them demonstrations, private readings. And it's just, and I just thought, wow, he didn't know what was going on. He was a little boy, so he never spoke about it. Um, but it's always in the family, always in the family. My mum would tell me how my nan would watch clothes go along the washing line, just move along the washing line. You know, things always, so it's always been in the family in some way or another. Um, but as for a personal thing, I don't think there's much of any interest about me really. There's nothing
I
exciting.
doubt that. I think your life's very interesting, Dawn.
I'm a
So do
picture
I.
framer. There you go. I'm a picture framer by trade.
There you go.
There you
I
go.
do love to do my art. I paint an awful lot.
Oh, me
I
too.
use
Oh,
acrylics.
you pair need to get together. You guys can whip up some paintings.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
do acrylic paints as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people that are of an open-minded heart, we need a creative release, don't we?
Yeah,
And I think we create in some way, whether it's, whatever you make or do, or whether it's writing or whatever it is, there's some creative need. So a lot of people probably wouldn't know that I do art as well. So yeah, I do spirit
Oh,
art.
and I have seen your cakes. You are very good at
yeah,
making
I have as
cakes.
well. Yeah, making cake. Forgot that bit.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
It's all about
So,
I do love to bake.
see, you're so creative. So, Dawn, when you do a service or you do a funeral, like, do you actually sit there and just like channel some of the stuff that you're going to say, or is there a set program that you follow? How does that work?
It's not a set program because I can't have that rigidity. Like I said before, it's nice to you have to have the mechanics. You have to know, right, I'm going to send my thoughts up now. But I'm not thinking, right, I need to send my thoughts and I need to do this and I need to do yada yada yada. Um, I just purely the breath, start to concentrate on my breath, and then I send my prayers up. I always have a specific prayer that I say first, but that's just purely for me. That gives me that comfort blanket.
Yeah.
I know I've said the prayer now, I'm good, you know. And then I just send my thoughts up, welcoming the spirit to come in. I don't say, right, the spirit, I'm going to get the spirit world to come in. I invite them. I can't make someone come through. I can only invite them. So I always say, you are loved, welcomed, and appreciated. You know that I'm going to be doing this service today, or I'm going to be doing a private reading with such and such. Please come and talk to your loved ones. And that's literally all I do. And then I will send the thought up. And then you sort of reach up, you sort of send your hand out into the air somewhere and pluck a message, pluck a person. Something comes to you and you reach out your mind, and that is how I do it.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. David has a question, I think.
I was going to ask Dawn, has becoming a reverend and doing that work as well, has that shaped or deepened your mediumship at all?
Um, I think it hasn't so much shaped it, because things haven't changed with how I do my media, how my approach, my own brand, shall we say, that we all have of mediumship. It hasn't changed that, but it has given me probably more of a reverence, I think, for the emotion that people are going through. Because
Yeah.
it's not so much about the excitement of, great, I got it right, but isn't that great, or that sort of thing. It's more now about, how can I present this message with the knowledge that that person is going to be shocked or in pain or not ready to receive this in quite that way.
Yeah.
How can I deliver this in the most sensitive way? It's helped me to do that a bit more, I think. um
Okay.
I think that's what's changed. Other than that, nothing has changed. But I have had beautiful experiences where I've been talking to a client to arrange a funeral, and their loved one has started to whisper over my shoulder, you know, about a specific thing that they would like, sort of encourage the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll know sort of how to ask a person what they would, you know, what they think their loved one would like. Did they like the colour so and so? Perhaps we can put that on there, you know, because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just trying to say it to me. So that does help. That shapes that in that way. So that's been interesting. That's been
Yeah.
different.
So you're a
And
little
is there some,
spiritual team, isn't it? Little your spiritual
Yeah,
colleagues, so to speak.
exactly.
do you think there's something people often misunderstand about the grieving process?
There is a time when it has to finish.
Mm.
No, not at all. Everybody's experience is different. I should be done by now, you know, not at all. Or this is how it's supposed, this the other person, but you know, my sister grieved this particular way. I'm supposed to behave in the same way, you know. It is totally personal to you. Nobody, or when people say to you, oh, I know exactly how you feel, they don't.
Mm.
They don't know how you feel, because your relationship, your experience of that loved one is completely unique to you. So your grieving process is completely unique. There is no one correct way. And I think we go through a lot of guilt about that. I should be
Yeah.
sorted. I can pull myself together. I should be sorted by now.
Hmm.
Grief can be a lifelong thing because it shapes you. It changes your brain because you've never experienced that before, or you've never experienced it with this particular person that you've loved so desperately. You've never had that change within you. Um, so I think the misconception is that we're supposed to be done by now. It's supposed to be finished. It can last an entire lifetime. I know with myself, you know, my greatest experience was, and you'll remember this, when I lost my dad when I was 13. And I never truly grieved. I never ever truly grieved. Because you kind of have to get on with stuff. We just had to get on.
Yeah.
And I I was with you, wasn't I, at the time at
Yeah.
the art college. And I remember I left for meditation.
Oh
Something
my
happened.
gosh.
Something
Mm.
happened to me, and I could barely breathe. I sat underneath the tulip tree, and completely my heart just crumbled.
Yeah.
Something just changed in me. Um, And I'm a grown woman now. I shouldn't be grieving anymore. This was a long time ago. It's over now, right? Totally wrong. For me, that moment helped. I was released from the pain that I'd had for all those years in that moment. And I'm closer to my dad now because I blocked him.
Mm.
He knew I was in terrible pain, and he knew that he couldn't get close enough to me because I would only be in more agony because I couldn't deal with the closeness. He didn't want to hurt his daughter. And I couldn't get to him because I didn't want to feel. I didn't want to feel because I knew that I wouldn't be able to get out of bed again if I felt. And in that moment, I was so healed that I'm able to talk to him all the time, see him all the time, and I have this huge weight off my shoulders. Grief is a weight that you feel you have to carry with you. And waking up one day and laughing about something is part of that weight being released off of you. I don't feel guilty for laughing. I can read a postcard that my dad had sent me now that I was never able to read before. Because I know that if I do cry, it's because I love him. And that's okay. It's okay to cry. There's no shame in it. But you never ever stop grief. Grief is something that never really truly ends because you are changed inside. And that's beautiful. Grief is not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. It just shows how much you love that person. So there's no right or
Yeah.
wrong about how it should be done. It's personal to that person. And I think that is the misconception.
Yeah. Oh, Dawn, you're such a beautiful soul. And I remember all those moments at Arthur Findlay College. I remember the moment it hit you. I remember holding your hand. I remember you running out of the spiritualist church, and you came back and you said, "Oh, I was crying." I went, "Girlfriend, you were sobbing, man. Everyone heard you sobbing down that hallway."
I
And you're
thought
like,
I'd got far enough that no one could hear me.
"Nah, you
Afraid
were
not.
like so loud." Yeah. And I'm like, "Nah, no one cared because every day someone left and sobbed exactly the same way. I mean,
Yeah,
I was sobbing, there was, I can't think it hit me on Tuesday, the second day,
yes,
it's like,
yeah,
I think I was teary Tuesday. I didn't
that's
last
right.
long.
Call it Teary Tuesday and Weepy Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Weepy Wednesday, that's what you get. Yeah. And you're holding it, everyone's going, oh no, I'm fine, I'm fine. Oh, I don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wait till Tuesday or Wednesday, pal.
Oh my God. That place opens up all the healing. Think that you're holding it together, you're so healed that you're
Yeah.
coming there just to do the work. No, part of the work there is to do this healing, and it happens.
Do you know what, Glenda? That is a huge, huge part of being of your spiritual path. If you
Yeah.
don't have that healing inside you, if you haven't got that open heart space inside you, there's no space to do the work, because that all that power, all that energy has to come in. If you've got all that on you, there's no room in your cup to give to anybody else. You have to have that open love and healing within inside you. The first spirit that of importance is your own spirit before you connect to any other spirit. I've had to learn that the hard way, you know. And spirit know that you're in pain, that you're not, things aren't going well for you, that you haven't done the healing, you haven't done the work. Spirit know that, so they can't do as much. They can't do as much. But as soon as you've got that healing, the gates open, and your mediumship will go tenfold.
Absolutely. I totally agree there.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's also important to say to people as well listening that to start healing does not mean forgetting.
No.
And I think sometimes people they hang on to the grief and the pain because they feel that if I start my healing journey, that means I'm kind of leaving them behind. And I always say, whether when my addresses or when I do a bit of philosophy, is that, healing is for us because we need it, and
Mhm.
does not mean that we are forgetting our loved ones, because ultimately they don't want us to remain in that energy of sadness. They want us to start that healing process, and however that looks like to the individual, but they want us to ultimately to do that. And something else you
Absolutely.
touched on there as well, Dawn, is about the block, and that sometimes we can block spirit because we don't want to feel the pain.
Yes.
Um, and I think that's an important thing to say here as well. And just to touch on that a bit more is because now people do sometimes come to us and they will ask us questions and they will say, why can't I feel my dad or my gran or whoever it might be? And I think sometimes it is because maybe even subconsciously we're blocking that link
Mm,
because we want them to be here physically and they're not
yeah.
here spiritually, but people want they want the physicality because that's what we miss. And I think
Cool.
sometimes and I've done it myself, where we put that block up because I know that although I want them to be here, once they do come in, I might be too emotionally affected. So it's a bit swings and roundabouts, isn't it? We want to feel them, but at the same time I don't want to be emotionally affected by it. It might sound silly to people, but it does happen, and that's why I always say to people when you come for a reading, make sure that emotionally and mentally you are ready for it, because we want the reading to uplift you, not to be a detriment to your healing and your journey going forward, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. You have to be in the right mind space. I think people, sometimes you get people who are desperate, they're searching, they're grasping. And so they come for a reading perhaps a little too soon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, and they need to have had a bit of space to let the grieving process commence, if you will,
Yeah.
um, before going to a medium,
Yeah.
because the spirit world know that you are suffering, and they won't want to encroach upon you, and often they can't even get through that, because they know that you'll feel pain, and they don't want you to be in pain, least of all caused by their presence. So it is very, but it is. I think I would advise anybody to, before you go to a medium, you've just lost somebody. You know, it's huge. It's huge, and no one should ever underestimate the power of that loss, that depth of energy, because everything is energy. Um, and so take your time before you go to a medium. Let yourself heal a little bit first before you go and get a reading. I would say that desperately, definitely. Because you may not, and also you might be desperate for something, and if you don't get exactly what you wanted out of that message, you're then going to be really hurt. Be kind to yourself before you do it.
That expectation can be
Absolutely.
very detrimental on your head.
Definitely, definitely. If you didn't get something back from grandma instantly, straight away, or the exact thing you wanted, well, that means she's dead then, doesn't it? It's all rubbish. None of it's true, you know. And that can really set a person back and be just awful for them, you know. But they can misconstrue a message as well. They can misconstrue the information, because they're not in the right mindset, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know yourself, if someone says something to you and you're not in the right frame of mind, you might be, normally you'd probably laugh or something or go, oh my gosh, I know. But if you're not in the right frame of mind, you're going to take it, you know, or it could really hurt you. It's the
By
same.
that.
Exactly. What did you mean by that? When really it's just because of your mindset.
So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I have a couple of lighter questions for you. So Dawn, what is your go-to comfort food after a dem? Because we all get hungry.
Oh my goodness me. I am a vegetarian, but I'm terrible. I have a sweet tooth. I do have a sweet tooth. So my go-to is always, oh gosh, I love cake. Love cake so
Ooh.
much. I love cake so much. I'm sorry.
Love it, love it, love it. So my question that I ask everyone I interview,
Oh,
does
egg fried egg
pineapple
sandwich. Fried
belong
egg
on
sandwich.
pizza?
Fried egg
Hey?
sandwich. And fried egg sandwich.
Fried egg sandwich.
Yeah.
What?
Fried egg
Comfort
sandwich.
food.
Really?
Fried egg sandwich. Oh my gosh, heaven, heaven.
I would,
Wow.
but with bacon in it.
Oh, okay.
Bacon.
Like some
And I like
meatier.
avocado. Avocado.
I can't
Oh
eat
no,
avocado.
that ruins it.
No, I
No,
love the taste of
stop it.
avocado, but avocado doesn't like me, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, we don't get on well.
oh my gosh. Well,
no more
this next
details about
question,
that.
no, no, no. Now, this next question is super important. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Okay, there's pineapple blimble on pizza. I would probably say yeah. I would say yeah. I would say yeah.
I'm
Definitely.
winning. I'm winning. I'm
But
winning
ham
this.
doesn't. No ham. No ham.
Oh, there you go.
No ham. Unless, of
But we
course, you're
can't have
a
pineapple and no
vegetarian.
ham.
But I love pineapple on pizza. Yeah, definitely.
There you
100%.
go, David.
It's official,
You're
David.
Liz.
Sorry, dude.
Yes, you're
Um,
official. You have to do it.
no, I can't. I'm really sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I say
It gives you
pineapple
that
belongs in a fruit
juicy,
cocktail
yummy.
or a pina colada, one of the two.
That too. Dawn, do you prefer group readings or one-to-one?
I
Like platform or one-on-one?
I think I enjoy the energy of a platform.
Hmm,
I think I like that.
I agree.
A lot of churches now I've noticed don't do hymns, which is which any kind of music, any kind of song at all brings up the energy. You know, it doesn't matter what you're singing, as you know, if you're singing row, row, row your boat, you know, it all brings up the energy. And that's really, really wonderful. But a lot of places I've noticed don't do that at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, same.
But you know, which is a shame. But I do love that the energy that, because it's not just you and spirit, the people that are there bring up the energy as well,
Mm.
you know. And so that's always lovely. I think that's I do prefer it as much as I enjoy a private reading. Yeah, definitely enjoy the setting of a group.
And the buzz of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
totally.
think David's the same.
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different energy to work with, I
Yeah.
think, and it's just yeah, a bit more buzzy if you
It's a
understand what I
party
mean.
atmosphere. Yeah,
Yes,
'cause
yeah,
you've got party guests there, you know,
yeah.
it's
As
yeah.
nerve-wracking
Yeah,
as nerve-wracking as it is, you enjoy it once you start doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
so, do you believe that we choose our life path before birth?
Ooh, good question. Um, I think we choose. Um, I would like to be with Glenda and David. I don't know how it's going to happen, but those are the people I would like to meet in my life and have some kind of experience with. I might be your neighbor. I might be your dad. I might whoever how it happens. I might be your lollipop lady, but I'm going to have some experience with you. We're going to have a certain effect on each other's lives in a positive way. Um, I don't know how it will be happening, but I think we choose that, and I think we choose a certain path, but we have free will of the directions we can take to get to that end goal. You know, I think
Yeah,
that's how it happens.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's not set in nothing set in stone. Um,
Hmm.
I think we outline these are the I would like to gain this knowledge from an experience.
Hmm.
What that experience might be, I don't know. But these are the knowledges and the people and the energies of the people I would like to be with. So whatever I have to do along the line when I get on planet Earth, um, to gain that knowledge and to be with those people, those energies, that's what will happen when I get there.
Yeah, I
I
like
feel
that.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's what I think.
Yeah, because I think for me personally, I think that heaven is just so amazing. We are
Mm.
surrounded in love. Everything's perfect. There's no negative, there's no pain, there's no
There's no
anything.
time.
Yeah, there's no time that we get here and we go, okay, smash me with
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to.
Because
I think you
yeah,
set out and you kind of say, right, I want to experience empathy. I want to experience the pain of loss so that I can
yeah,
so that I can have empathy for others. You know, I want to experience love. I want to experience pain so that I can appreciate the depth of love.
mm,
Um, so I want all of the bad so that I can appreciate the good. I want all of that in my life. Um, how I go about it once I get there is free will.
amen. I agree with you there
Yeah,
because then why would we come here?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Be
absolutely.
boring.
yeah. I want to learn. I think we come here. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think we come here to experience unconditional love because you're born. The spirit world, as you just said, the spirit world is this perfect place. Nothing bad ever happens. So you're in a state of perfection all the time. But I think you choose to come here because you're born and you don't know anything other than conditional love. As soon as you take your first breath, that is when things change. Life experiences start to unfold. The first time you have an interaction with a mother or a father, anybody, any interaction you have changes and you start to grow opinions. You have knowledge, nurture, all of that changes, and we have to relearn to walk back to unconditional love. I think that's what we're here for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I always say to people, no one's here by accident.
No.
We're here for a reason.
Yeah,
Um, and
totally.
as I agree with you, to experience, the journey that we're supposed to be going on. Otherwise, what is the point?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
otherwise, no, we're born, then we die. But there's got to be something in between that to have a
absolutely.
purpose as to why we're here. Otherwise, what is
Yeah,
the point? If we were
yeah,
to live forever, it'd be a different story. But the fact we all live to different ages and all that, there's something else in it. It's not just a matter of, oh, we're here on Earth to pay bills and die. There's something
yeah,
else in it, isn't there? I believe, same as what you've said there.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like we're at school, we're learning all different
Absolutely.
parts of it.
Mm.
And like I always pictured being in heaven, sitting at this massive long table, going, tick, I want to experience this, I want to experience this, I want to experience this, and I want to experience this. Because, we come here and half the time we're going, why is this happening to me? I
Yeah,
must have run up
because you
in
asked
here and
to experience it. You
that's
wanted to
what I
experience
think.
it. Yeah.
That's what I
You
feel. I
might
feel
not
like
like it very much, but it's what you wanted.
that's it. Exactly
Yeah.
right. And sometimes we look over to, the Joneses and going, oh my gosh, look at their life. They're not struggling. They've always got money, they're born into this life of this, this, and this. And I'm like, I ticked the wrong box. I want a refund.
Oh man. But then you don't know what the Joneses are going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Are they
They
really
they
happy?
yeah, they may have a lot of money, but have they got the kind of worth,
Heart.
grace, and compassion that you have? Have they got the friends and family and the knowledge that you have? Are they at that same spiritual growth that you have?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely agree with
have
that.
they ticked the right box? I
Mm.
doubt it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question, how has mediumship contributed to your personal growth and healing journey? What insights or lessons have you gained through this work?
I have learnt to forgive myself.
Mhm.
I think that's a huge one, actually. Even just saying it now is in the moment, because obviously I didn't know what you were going to ask me. Um, I've learned to forgive myself, and I've learned that I'm not perfect. Nobody is. And that's okay, because we're not supposed to be. Um, but everything that I do, everything that everybody around you, you're all affecting each other in a way that is beautiful. Pain is beautiful. Love is beautiful. Loss is beautiful. And it's okay to be you. It's okay to be quirky. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not fit in. Because if you did, then what would be the point of being here? We're all different puzzle pieces. There's this massive puzzle. And each one of us, each individual one of us is a puzzle. You set out a whole puzzle, you finish it, and then that last piece is missing.
Mm.
Oh, it's so frustrating. That person that you didn't even notice down the street, that you didn't care about, you didn't even know they were there. That's the puzzle piece that was missing. And they thought their life was unimportant. They didn't think they had any importance in the world. But they are the puzzle piece. Without them, the whole puzzle is useless. Everyone that's on this earth plane at this very moment, taking a breath in this very lifetime, has to be here. We are meant to be here because nothing works without you being here.
Mm.
That puzzle will never be complete without you. And I think that's something that's precious knowledge to me. I think because all the times that I've felt to myself, oh, what am I even doing? What's the point? Especially going when you're a teenager and you're just like, oh, what's the point? Or no one understands me. you know, every single one of you, the one that little kid that drove you nuts, that bullied you or whatever, he's part of your puzzle. He has to
Mm.
be there. He has to be there. The ones that you feel have done you wrong, have hurt you, they have to
Mm.
be because they're part of your puzzle. Nothing will work without the pain. Nothing will work without the joy. Nothing will work without the suffering. It's all part of the puzzle.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I'm putting it all into perspective with everything that's going on right now, mate. Your words are just amazing.
Bless you.
I think David can ask this other question. This one's a big one.
Okay. So, Dawn, imagine that today is your last day on Earth.
Mhm.
What 3 truths or lessons would you want to leave behind for the world, based on your experiences and insight that you've gained through your mediumship and your life?
Breathe. Please breathe. I feel like crying when I say that. Goodness me. Be authentic to you. Because when you close the doors at night time, it's you that's there. You've got to sit with you. So be honest with yourself. Forgive yourself because you're not perfect. And while you're on this earth plane, you never will be. And what you do is good enough. You are good enough. You're not just good enough, you're perfect. You're perfect because God made you. So any time that you feel that you are not perfect, exactly in this moment, that there is a hair out of place that is not perfect, God put it there. The Great Spirit put it there. So you are perfect. Just be you. Just be the person you are. Be true to yourself. Unshakable truth, unshakable faith in yourself. And you are powerful. You are so incredibly powerful. In the times that you feel the weakest is when that you are your strongest. You're able to do the most incredible things. Because we are all I don't want to sound preachy, but we're all a facet of whatever we class as. You don't have to say God, whatever the great power, we're all a facet of it experiencing itself. Where you are right now, you are absolutely perfect because you are just an image of love. Every time you look at somebody and wish you were them, you are not, they're looking back at you, reflecting themselves and saying, I wish I was you. Because you're perfect and you are all powerful. And just be you, love you.
Yeah.
That's all I would say.
Oh, beautiful
That's
words. Always. Yeah, that's so beautiful.
absolutely.
Thank you for sharing those words. You are such a special lady, Dawn.
Bless you. Ditto.
What's what's happening with Dawn moving forward? Have you got something to share with us? Where's Dawn going to now?
Oh goodness me. I'll be going down the shops later. I've got church services lined up, some other podcasts. I do demonstrations at obviously churches, but I also run a group, a development group, at my local church, which anybody can go to. It's always open. I would absolutely love to continue doing my funeral services, just helping people however I can. I just want to always be there for people however I can be. We're also bogged down with so much. Everyone's busy. We're always busy, myself included. I'm always busy. But I pray every day that God put me where I'm needed. Please just put me where I'm needed, because then I'll be happy. I'll know I've done something good. So you can catch me at having church services. You'll find me private readings, you'll podcasts. I'll always be around doing something. I hope.
We hope to. So Dawn,
Yeah.
are you on social media? And if so, where can people find you or contact you?
Yeah. You can contact me on Facebook at Spiritualist Medium Dawn. Spiritualist Medium .dawn. You'll find me on there. And you can always, of course, contact Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, where you will find my contact information there as well.
We'll put the links in the show notes as well if people want to find you. I know are you doing one-to-ones at the minute, Dawn? No, some
Yeah,
mediums do, some mediums don't. Are you offering
yeah,
one-to-ones?
I'm happy to do one-to-ones. I don't do face to face as such because
Yeah.
everybody's busy and getting around.
Hmm.
But I do it online or on the phone or yeah, absolutely, no problem.
We'll put all that in the show
Yeah, of
notes.
course.
Um, but once again, Dawn, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with our listeners. Because if the listeners know, if they follow us, they know that this podcast is not about us really. It's about sharing knowledge and not necessarily teaching, but just giving people something different to
Yeah.
think about, some alternative views. I do feel that a lot of people listening to the podcast will get a lot from this today, because I think looking at the world as it is, as mad as it's going, with the grief and the loss that's going on, not just around the world for world situation, but personal loss as well. I think people will take a lot of comfort from you've said today as well, Dawn. So I'm sure
Thank you.
we'll send you our appreciation for that as well.
Bless
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Bless you. I was so honored to be invited on your show and meeting David for the first time and seeing Glenda's beautiful face again has just brought me so much joy. And to all of your listeners, thank you so much. Please know, ultimately, nothing else, know that you are not alone. And I hope this show shows that to people as long as you have this show.
Oh, I love
Thank
you,
you.
Dawn.
Thank
Love
you.
you too.
Well, that's it, people, for today's episode. We thank you for tuning in as always and seeing what's going on in the Spirit Lounge. We'll be back again, obviously, with more episodes and more guests. But for now, look after yourselves and we'll speak to you all soon.
Thank you so much for joining us in the Spirit Lounge today. We hope you enjoyed the discussion.
Yes, and if there's a spiritual topic you'd like us to discuss, or if there's a spiritual question you'd like our input into, then please send those topics and questions to us at glenda-marie1@hotmail.com, and we will get to them as soon as possible.
Lastly, if you could like and share this podcast, as well as leaving us a comment or review about what you thought, then that would really help us out and we'd be very grateful.
We would indeed. But it's bye from me.
And it's bye from me.
Join us again soon in the Spirit Lounge.